Welcome to another episode of Chat Sports Talk. My name's Jack. Take a dive with little sports. And welcome to Week 1 NFL recap and reaction video. That's where we're going to go over the games from Week 1. Kind of go over my picks, how well I did, as I go cry myself in a corner because it was a horrible week for me. There's so many things out there. Kickers can't kick. Coaches can't coach. Quarterbacks thought we're done, or saying, hang on, I'm not done yet. It's running backs are back. Some running backs are not. It's revenge games. It's chaos. Before I dive in all the rest of my misery, if you could go ahead, smash that thumbs up for me, especially like the content provider. Really pleases you two guys that brought this channel out. So you can also subscribe. Let you guys review my work. I love you all for doing that. Not me if you subscribe. It's cost you a dime. Helps me provide more time value for you. All right, now I've kind of collected myself here a little bit. Let's go ahead and go over the what happened last week, and I end up going 7, 8, and 1. That's right. There was a tie already in the NFL season. More on that later. But yeah, fun, feel excited at the weekend of college football action. Kicked off with the LA Rams kicking off the season, raising their Super Bowl banner. This is the year that we defend our title. We're trying to make it, 2 in a row. Hosting Buffalo, which a lot of people said could be a Super Bowl preview. I'm saying one of these teams is going to make it to the Super Bowl. And early going, it was just a sloppy mess. I mean, they were turning the ball over left and right. They were like, no, you have it. No, I assist. You have it. No, really. You have it. It was horrible. 10-10 at the half. I mean, with all the turnovers, that's all it was. So the Rams should have felt pretty good. I mean, you had another Stafford Cup connection. How many times do we hear that throughout the season? Same thing with Allen and Diggs. They had a connection. So how many times do you hear that through the season? But one of the key differences in this game was Von Miller. He was raining havoc in that Rams backfield. And the Rams should know he was their teammate during the Super Bowl run. And they should have a plan against him. They knew his tactics. They knew his tenacity. They did nothing. Von Miller was the deciding factor in this game. The Bills just all of a sudden just took off. Allen started using his legs, stiff-arming individuals like Derrick Henry. So, I mean, he even outmuscled Bobby Wagner for a touchdown. So Josh Allen can get you with his body and his arms, his legs. I mean, he's going to be a wrecking ball this season. You might want to, slow it down a little bit and take some hits because it's a long season. But the Bills made a statement in the second half, shut out the Rams. Initially, pretty much a blowout, embarrassing the Rams at home, 31-10, and kick off on a week with a victory. And then came the games on Sunday, and I didn't fare so well in a lot of those. We'll go ahead and go to MetLife with the Jets. We're playing host Lamar Jackson and the Ravens, and it wasn't even a close game at all. Flacco's not the same quarterback he once was, even though he did have 300 yards and a touchdown. Now was basically it for him, but Lamar did what he had to do. He had 3 touchdowns himself. It wasn't really much of a rushing attack. It was more a defensive showing for the Ravens, and that's what they're best known for. Flacco got his touchdown at the end, so it was pretty much gimme points. But the Ravens were just too much for the Jets, 24-9. And then one of the revenge games this week was the Browns visiting Carolina, and how I said Baker Mayfield was going to torch his former team. Well, he did run in for a touchdown. He passed for another one, so you have those two aspects going for you. McCaffrey also had a touchdown, but he barely ran the ball. And I said the Carolina season depends on McCaffrey's health. It also depends on McCaffrey's usage. Carolina barely used McCaffrey. They relied more on Baker Mayfield. Jacoby Brissett. I'm sorry, Jacoby, for calling you Jimmy. I don't know why. Proved that he's actually a very good backup, that their season is not completely done. Nick Chubb was a wrecking ball for the Browns. He had 141 yards total, or 141 yards on the ground, no touchdowns. And Cleveland held on to beat Carolina 26-24. First time the Browns started 1-0 in like forever. Baker once again couldn't lead his team to a victory. So, I don't know. I think there's a lot of things to take away from this Carolina team, but they got to use McCaffrey more. Maybe they were trying to, preserve him. Maybe, use him less now so he'll be healthier later in the season. It could be a possibility, but underutilizing one of your key weapons is going to be detrimental to you, and they need to hurry up and fix that issue. Then the Colts and the Texans went to a 20-20 tie. I don't understand this. Houston pretty much was in control of this game. Was up 20-3 headed to the fourth quarter. But Lovie Smith started playing conservatively. And they pretty much had an opportunity to steal it. But they had a 4th and 3, their own 41 or 49-yard line with 26 seconds left of the game, in overtime, mind you. And Smith went to punt the ball instead of just going for it. Now, note that the Colts rattled off 17 points, unanswered points in the fourth quarter to tie the game under Matt Ryan, 352 yards passing and his one touchdown in the air, and Taylor had 161 yards on the ground and a touchdown. But Mills has proven to be a very competent quarterback, so I may have written them off earlier before this. But it's just one of these things that I think that close to the end of the game, where your defense was kind of playing in that overtime, you've been shutting out Indianapolis. Yeah, they got gassed in the fourth quarter, but they stepped up in the overtime frame, not to go for it. I don't know. I might have gone for it if I was in that position. But this seems to be a reoccurring theme of coaching blunders for this week. So we'll kind of see how that one transpires. Then we had the Washington, where Carson Wentz was going to take on his former coach, Peterson. I said Washington was going to beat Jacksonville. There was just too much experience from Wentz to go against Trevor Lawrence. Both of them had a decent game. Carson Wentz had a spectacular game. Over 300 yards passing and 4 touchdowns. He shredded that secondary for the Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence had 275 yards and a touchdown, so his wasn't that bad. But it was just too much Carson Wentz and the Commanders, and they were able to beat the Jaguars 28-22, start the season undefeated. Down there in Miami, that Tua retooled offense with now Tyreek Hill, who didn't score a touchdown but almost had 100 yards receiving, which is way too much for New England. Mac Jones got smacked around. He didn't get hurt with a possible lower back injury, but reports are saying that he should be fine for this weekend's action. So that's good for the Patriots, but yeah. Belichick was not happy with his performance. Only had 7 points overall. And Miami was just in control for most of the game. The offense had, was only good for pretty much one quarter. And then after that, they kind of stalled out. But that's all they needed. The defense came through. Dolphins win 20-7. And then the Falcons played host to the Saints. And it's the same Falcons team no matter who is the quarterback. Matt Ryan was there for a long time, known for a lot of blown games, including a Super Bowl, which they should have won. Now they have Marcus Mariota resurrecting his career in Atlanta. And James Winston's proven that, he is the heir apparent in New Orleans. He had 269 yards in the air, 2 touchdowns. Atlanta led 23-3 heading into the fourth quarter. The Saints won on a game-winning field goal, 27-26, for another blown Atlanta victory. And that seems to be the MO for this franchise, which is really, really sad. I mean, I've seen on Twitter quite a few of them, a list of games that they had quite handedly. With even like 2 minutes left in the game and also lose. So it seems to be the MO for this franchise, and it's sad. They need to close out a game. Atlanta had the Saints dead to right, and they failed to close it out. And then you have Philadelphia and Detroit. This one actually went with Detroit because I figured Detroit could sneak one away from Philly. and it almost looked that way because the Eagles were not... I mean, they had a great second quarter where they had 24 points. I mean, that was just ridiculous on what happened there. In just 4 different players have rushing touchdowns. It was just ridiculous. I mean, Hurts started off with a 1-yard touchdown run, and then Sanders went up the middle for another one, and then he had a pick 6. It was just bad all around for Detroit that second quarter, and they went down 24-14 at half. But kudos to the Lions who did not let that deter them. They came back with a fury. They just ran out of time. They were still down. They were down 38-21 heading to the fourth, and then Detroit roll off 2 more touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Ran out of time. Unfortunately, because it looked like Detroit could have done that, but fell short. Philadelphia escaped a victory in the Motor City, 38-35. And then a weird game down there in Cincinnati. It was just Burrow was making some bad decisions with the ball. He did have over 300 yards passing and 2 touchdowns, including one Jamar Chase, who almost had 130 yards receiving. Joe Mixon only had 82 yards rushing, so congratulations for that front line of the Steelers. They kind of shut down the running game. Najee Harris got injured during this game for the Steelers. Thing is, he could be available for next week as well. T.J. Watt looks like he has a pectoral muscle. So he's still trying to get evaluation with that one because if he has to have surgery, he's done for the season. There's other indications that may not need surgery, which means he's only out for 6 weeks, which is a big hole to fill in that defense. And Trubisky was just doing what he normally does. I mean, he only had 194 yards and a touchdown. Is he going to kill you with the stat lines? No. He had that season already. That got him the Pro Bowl spot. I don't think he'll have those type of numbers again. He has decent weaponry around him. I think losing Harris kind of hampered the Steelers' offense for a bit because they were up 17-6 at the half. Cincinnati came back. In the fourth quarter, they scored a touchdown. They needed an extra point to win it. Pretty much. Missed it. So they went to overtime at 20-20. And the Steelers were able to, Trubisky was do just enough to get them right down the field, set up the game winner. And Steelers escape Cincinnati 23-20, but losing their key defensive star. Then we head to the monsoon in the Windy City. Very bad. I mean, it looked like a water park almost in Chicago would probably play a factor in the outcome of this game. So I'm not going to take away too much, but yeah, it was a very sloppy game back and forth. But, Justin Fields ended up having 2 touchdowns in the air. In the fourth quarter, the Bears came alive. I mean, it took them that long to get there. Trey Lance was already 164 yards, but once again, I said soggy conditions, so the ball's slippery, so you're not going to be completely accurate with the ball. But there was a celebration that I think will live in infamy, where Justin Fields actually, starts sliding across the field like a penguin, and just, stood up, did a little flex. I mean, that was awesome to see that the Bears actually, came out like that. I didn't think they'll do that. Of course, I wasn't, taking the factor the weather. But it's only one game this season, so I'm not going to flare too much. But yeah, the Bears came back, beat the 49ers 19-10. Do that the same leg next week against Green Bay. Speaking of which, they were in Minnesota. I already said they were going to lose this game anyways. This is like going to probably be the only black mark on the Packers' divisional record, because Aaron Rodgers has yet to really develop that kinship with receivers yet, and it proved it when he threw that deep ball and it just went through his hands. I mean, the guy had it. I mean, he had a touchdown easy, and that's probably what he's thinking about. How am I going to dance? You forgot to catch the ball. That's just things that, the quarterback needs to, get the receivers like, hey, when I throw you the ball, you better catch it, or you're not seeing any more time whatsoever. Let them know this is their livelihood. You're signed here to catch the balls I throw to you. You can tell Aaron Rodgers was not a happy camper at all. That these guys were just dropping the balls, not running the right routes. I mean, it was just, they were not on the same sheet of music at all. It's like Aaron Rodgers is out there, with classical music, and only receivers are out there with house. Not the same style. Not in the same genre. I mean, it was bad for Green Bay offense. They've only had that one touchdown, and Kirk Cousins and Jefferson were having a phenomenal throw and catch session. 184 yards, 2 touchdowns for Jefferson. And there's so many times that he was open. That Packers defense looked out of sync. They didn't know how to handle Jefferson and Thielen and Delvin Cook. There's just too many weapons on Minnesota. Great win for a new coach in Minnesota, as Minnesota was too much for Green Bay. Beat them 23-7. Then we head out there to the desert where the Cardinals are playing host to the Chiefs, and people are like, okay, does Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs offense differ without Tyreek Hill? According to this game, no. Patrick Mahomes had 360 yards and 5 touchdowns. Just let that kind of sink in. And Kelsey only had 1 touchdown for 121 yards. The Chiefs will find ways to make a new player step up and be, the focal point. But please note, this is the Arizona Cardinals secondary, so it's not one of the best in the league. They got decimated, they got obliterated, they got shredded. Kyler Murray couldn't do much either. He only had 2 touchdowns in the air and only 193 yards passing. This Cardinals team may not make it for the season. I don't know what this is, but it's also Patrick Mahomes will take on his former college coach, and look like the student now has become the master. And we head back to L.A. We're down. The Chargers are playing host to the Raiders. A retooled Raiders with Carr and Devontae Adams together. They hooked up for 1 touchdown. Devontae had 104 yards in the receiving. Carr's 5 yards short of 300. They also had 2 touchdowns. Herbert had 279 yards with 3 TDs, and he showed out to be a little bit better. He's able to pass the ball around a little bit more. And, it's just, Khalil Mack, I think, being a great addition for the Chargers. I mean, the Chargers had a 17-3 lead at half. They got cut short to 24-13. The Raiders are coming back, but the Chargers are able to hold on and actually win a game, 24-19. So they actually closed out a game. Congrats to the Chargers to start off their season. It's going to be some more lumps for the Raiders before things get going. But, Chase McDaniel will make sure the offense is humming next time around. So we'll see. In Music City, the Titans are playing host to the Giants. And for the Giants, I think it really revolves around the legs and the health of Saquon Barkley. He hasn't yet to really play a full season. But when he is healthy, he is a bruiser. He proved it again today with 164 yards on the ground. Derrick Henry was not Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry even got Derrick Henry. He got hit on the line and he flew across the field. This is normally what he does that to the two defenders, and the defender did it to him. That just set the tone for this new G-man under McAdoo. Daniel Jones was efficient. That's what he had to be, was efficient. Had 2 touchdowns himself. Shepard didn't have 71 yards on the TD. But McAdoo went for a 4th and goal. A lot of people thought it was probably a little crazy to do that. He showed how big his certain body parts are. They are making it going ahead. And it was just the Giants pull off a upset in Nashville. Another one of my losses. It's just bad. Then Sunday night, Tampa Bay and Dallas facing off once again to start the season. Tom Brady playing in his 900th season. This man is now the oldest quarterback to start an NFL game. He is not the oldest quarterback to throw a touchdown. That belongs to George Blanda, who was a longtime quarterback. He spent some time with the Bears and then in his days with the Raiders. But he was a place kicker then at that time frame. When he played, players played multiple positions. They wore leather helmets. A loaf of bread cost you a dime. But no, George Bunda is actually the oldest player to throw a touchdown. He was 47 at the time. And he did it on a trick play when he was lined up to be a kicker. So, I don't know if Brady's trying to break that record. He still has a few more years to do that. I didn't know it was going to last that much longer. Thing with this one, this was actually going, I think, right where I think everyone's kind of thinking. I think both defenses were actually really good. They had a lot of bend, don't break mentality, especially with Dallas. They'll call up plays, but then they get to a certain point and they'll just lock it down, and then Tampa Bay can't do anything. I know Fournette lit up Parsons in one drive. He was trying to get around the guard, and Fournette came around and just gave him a nice shove right in the ribs. He went flying. Apparently they're on the Twitter war. Sorry, Parsons, but you come in there, you got to take account for the running back too. He may give you a good lick. Parsons had to get a sack in there eventually. Tom Brady. And in the beginning, it was only 12-3, a kicker's duel between Tampa Bay and Dallas. Godwin looked like he might have re-injured or tweaked something in his leg. So hopefully nothing else happens with him. Dak got hurt, broke something in his throwing hand. He's definitely out for 6 to 8 weeks, at least 6 weeks. Possibly even more depending on how he's able to grip the ball and move forward from there. What I don't get by Cowboy fans is they booed and threw stuff at Dak when he ran off the field. Cowboy fans are just part of the most idiotic fan base out there. Why you gonna boo your only star really on that team on offense? Because the receivers didn't really do much for him. A lot of things would point towards CeeDee Lamb trying to be the new number one. He wasn't much of a factor. The running attack wasn't much of a factor between Elliott and Pollard. I mean, they could not get anything going except for that first drive they had in the game when they ended up getting a field goal. And after that, nothing. Cowboys defense got tired. ish. They only coughed up 19 points. That was it. And it was a touchdown pass to Evans. It was just over everyone, over his back shoulder. He's able to reach up, grab it, get his feet, his body parts in for a touchdown. And beyond that, I mean, Cowboys defense were doing what they had to do. I mean, they limited the opportunities the Bucs had to really put points on the board. So credit to the Cowboys defense. They did what they had to do. It's the offense that failed to meet that standard. Part of it's due to the offensive line. Part of it due to the experienced receiving core. Part of it due to a lackluster running attack, which plays points to Tampa Bay for their defense. So it's only one game this season. I figured Dallas would take that win. Tampa Bay and Tom Brady once again smack me around. But that leads us to Monday night's action, where it's another revenge game. Russell Wilson returned to Seattle, where he led the Seahawks to 2 Super Bowls and a Super Bowl title. So how did the Seahawks fans greet him? They booed his ass. Another weird fan base. This is the guy that was pretty much the face of your franchise and made your franchise stand out. Reason why you have the 12th man now. I mean, part of it because of Pete Carroll. He got himself a great team, especially that Legion of Boom defense. And with Russell Wilson leading his offense, he was riding cloud 9 up there in Seattle. Before that, the only highlight the Seahawks had was Steve Largent. That's the only thing Seattle football was known. Steve Largent and playing in the Kingdom. That was it. That's all Seattle was known for before then. Before Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson arrived, along with all the other Bobby Wagner and all the other key aspects of that Legion of Boom defense. But to boo the man that got you a Super Bowl, disrespectful. It is. Once again, another fan base just doesn't get it. I understand you're upset he left. I get that. But you don't boo the man. You cheer him for when you first walk on the field, you cheer him, thank him, boom during the game. Then you thank him at the end of the game. That's what you should have done. They didn't. I'll say that piece. Russell tried his best. He had 340 yards in the air. Did make some pretty bad throws here and there. Only had one touchdown. Judy had 102 yards in the air and caught that touchdown. But it's Gino Smith. One of the things you really have to kind of look at. He's the starter up there in Seattle. I wrote him off. So did a lot of other people. He even made a comment that at the end of the game, is like, a lot of people wrote me off. I didn't write them back. That's brilliant by Gino Smith. He did what he had to do. He was very efficient. He did make some questionable throws, but it went his way. He found open receivers, wide open, especially the tight ends. And he did what he had to do. He ended up getting 2 touchdowns overall. But another thing that really hampered Denver is 3 trips in the red zone. And only coming away 3 points. And 2 of those trips ended up being fumbles. So that's something that Denver's got to really work on moving forward. And Seattle, before we get to that, let's just go with that last play of the drive. This is another reason. Couple key points I made earlier about coaches can't coach and kickers can't kick. Now remember, Russell Wilson signed a contract worth of $250 million. That's a $250 million contract he signed to stay in Denver till pretty much he's done. So fourth quarter, under about a minute left. It's fourth down. If you kick it, if you go for a field goal, it's a 63-yard field goal. He's not really lined up in the middle. Remember, you're not in Denver, so the air is not, it's not thin air, so the ball doesn't carry that far. You're not indoors. Technically, you're actually below sea level. And they wasted like 30 seconds trying to figure out what the heck they're going to do. Instead of calling a timeout, to sit back, okay, what are we going to do? This is their season's on the line. And Hackett forgot to bring something with him to the game. He's very indecisive. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know what happened prior because he thought they just called up a sack on 3rd down when he made a huge gain on 3rd down after backing themselves up. They should have went for it to get closer because if you go by analytics, Denver or Russell Wilson had a more probability of making a 1st down than a kicker making a 60-plus yard field goal. He decided for the latter. He decided for the field goal, 60-plus yards. I think it was like 63, 64 yards. Now, it was long enough. It was. I mean, he had the distance. He kicked the out of it, and it just kept sailing a little bit and just barely missed the upright. And I don't know. This one just it infuriates me that, when you're at that close, is like, okay, you have to do something. You have to go for it. And that particular aspect, you're too far out to really attempt that type of field goal. I mean, period. I mean, if you were indoors, maybe you can, go for that. But once again, another coach is just out of tune, out of touch. I don't know. It just made some bad decisions in terms of this one. And there you go. Yeah, coaches that can't make up their damn minds and you play too conservative, and that's basically what it is, too conservative. You have coaches that just, just flop it out, slam it on the table, and go, this is what it is, I'm going to do this, I'm going to punch you in the mouth, and they do that. Revenge games did not go the way some people thought, including this guy. Other teams just didn't show up. Let's put it this way. Only one team this weekend did not score a touchdown. Only one team. That's the Cowboys. How about them boys? I think their season is toast. They may be lucky to get a win with that gone. I mean, lucky. Does this cost McCaffrey? So frustrated I can't even get the head coach right. His job this season, not during the season, but I think he's gone at the end. Sean Payton's right there knocking at the door. Okay, come in, Jerry. No, not yet, Sean. Gotta wait. But yeah, I think Sean Payton's gonna be the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, and then at the end of the season. But right now, I don't see McCaffrey. I still can't. See, this is how frustrating this week is. It was a little bad for me for college as well. But anyways, like I said, inept coaches, revenge games not going the way, kickers missing kicks. Just another lovely week in NFL action, and like I said, I went 7-8-1. Definitely got to get better in that one. But hey, let me know down below which game surprised you the most. Who are you happy to see perform well, and what games looking forward upcoming to the rest of the season. While you're there, make a comment. You can also hit that thumbs up once again. You can also share this video with your friends and family to help promote this channel out. Once you subscribe, make sure you hit that bell notification. That'll let you know next time I post any more content in this video or my channel. And I'll see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.